to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is There's Nothing to Forgive. What we're looking at is moving beyond forgiveness to acceptance, to allowing that our lives perhaps unfold in their perfection, giving us opportunities to fulfill our greatest potentials. So before we get started, let's take a couple minutes to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light, lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's rub our hands together, vigorously pressing them together and feeling the friction, the motion, the temperature, the pressure, the tickling and tingling when you stop. And allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables us to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, forgiveness. You know, when we think about forgiveness, there is a foundational assumption of wrong. You know, that we forgive someone for doing wrong by us. That there's a separation, there's the experience or presumption that somehow things are unfolding in a way that doesn't serve us. And there are unspeakable horrors in the world, for sure. And there are injustices, and there are horrors. And what if somehow life is unfolding, like life is happening for us and through us rather than to us? What if that is the case? And when we are able to adopt that perception, that experience truly, then there's not a need for forgiveness. What we're doing is we're instead assimilating, we're instead integrating our experience on a very deep level. So an example of this is someone I know who experienced multiple people actually, who experienced tremendous trauma growing up, tremendous trauma. And that trauma within it helped to shape them. And their evolution, their movement out of that trauma, their healing from that trauma is the challenge of their lives, really. Maybe that's the challenge of all our lives, is truly the opportunity to heal, integrate, and transmute those traumas into wisdom, into life lessons, into strength and wholeness. And that's a lifelong process, to be working to integrate and reconcile and truly transmute that trauma into strength and courage and wisdom and wholeness. And not all of us manage to do that. Not all of us manage to get to the other side, but that it's the opportunity of our lives to do so, to move out of victimhood, to take ownership and responsibility for our lives, not blame. We're not talking about blame, but to find a recognition that in the trauma that we experience in our lives are the seeds of our self-realization. Now, I'm not saying let's seek out trauma. There's enough of that to go around, I think. But it is through the challenges that we experience in life that we have the opportunity to rise above that, to integrate it, to use it in the best way possible to shape us, to strengthen us, to allow us greater expression. And when we do that, when we have managed to transcend the trauma and to metabolize it in a way that it actually feeds us rather than poisons us, then we have a richness in our lives that allows us to recognize that it was all part of the journey, that it was all part of our becoming, all part of our movement into our greatest expression. So much learning and wisdom comes from pain. When we can move beyond being a victim, when we can allow ourselves to take the reins of our lives and rise, even in the face of tragedy and oppression and all kinds of things that would or have thwarted us on our paths in life. I remember there was a lot of my life I very much felt like a victim. And I remember repeating over and over and over, life is happening for me and through me rather than to me. But it didn't really, actually, that wasn't what I was saying. I was saying everything is perfect for my growth as I was suffering. And I didn't really believe it. I was trying to alleviate the pain by trying to convince myself that that pain was for my benefit. But it was the way that I was experiencing at the time. I think it was more of a denial of my circumstance, because I couldn't possibly understand how all this agony was good for me in any way, shape, or form. And I can understand if you feel the same way, because life can be so tortuous and agonizing. And I think rather than affirming in the face of that kind of pain or agony or disruption, instead of affirming everything is perfect for my growth, maybe a better way to approach it might be, if life is happening for me and through me, if everything is perfect for my growth, what is the opportunity here? What is the opportunity? Because all circumstances provide a seed of opportunity for us. So getting back to this notion of forgiveness, there's nothing to forgive. Even the difficulties that we experience in life, if indeed life is happening for us and through us rather than to us, the interactions that we have are part of that, even the painful ones. And so this notion of forgiveness holds within it a seed of victimhood. And like, you've done wrong to me, so I get to forgive you. And also there's this hierarchy that is inherent with forgiveness. You know, like I in forgiving you, there's a place of where I'm sort of asserting my superiority in a way. I guess ultimately, what would maybe the purest form of forgiveness is really just releasing all blame. And so it's not me granting you some sort of reprieve or absolution, because who am I to do that? But it's me releasing blame. It's me allowing things to be as they are, to be accepting those things, to be integrating those things, to be allowing life in its unfoldment. You know, to be really, forgiveness is not for another person. Forgiveness is something when for ourselves, that it's really truly in its, I guess in its purest form, is just releasing this sense of of blame and also releasing a sense of victimhood. So, Serge, thank you, thank you. All this beautiful unconditional love. And wow. Hi, Dido. So good to have you here with us. So Dido says the purest form of forgiveness is releasing all blame. That's such a powerful distinction. I think it is. I think it is. There often, if we're saying, well, I forgive you, there's still the sense of wrong that is foundational to that kind of forgiveness. But if we can truly allow life to be unfolding in its perfection, if we can live from that place, then the victimhood actually disappears. The thing that calls for forgiveness no longer calls for forgiveness. There's a level of acceptance, a level of wholeness. I'm just going to say wholeness that emerges for us. That is not, I'm not saying there aren't things that are egregious, because there are behaviors that are egregious. There are circumstances that are egregious, that we react to, that we respond to, that we feel wounded by, that we are shaped by in so many ways. But there is a place where moving beyond those triggers, allowing them to shape us in the best of ways. They hold the seeds of our, again, self-realization in so many cases. And it doesn't mean that the journey is easy. It doesn't mean that something happens in this moment and we necessarily can just allow it to dissipate or dissolve, or that we're able to immediately move beyond it. It's the process of that wound and the healing of the wound that then shapes us into becoming, into potential new directions. So Serge says, is to forgive and do your best to forget and watch and play. Forgive them, for they don't know what they do. Love them anyway, for they don't know what they do. One of the same. So Serge, this is what we're talking about, is forgive them. There's still in that statement, there's still a sense of blame, even though saying they don't know what they're doing. It's like, if they did know what they're doing, they wouldn't do that. But and what they're doing is wrong. And so the thing is, it is through these wrongs that we experience in our lives, and hopefully those wrongs give us the seeds of something that is a catalyst for our personal growth and evolution. And we don't always take that opportunity. But when we do, it allows us to rise. It's through the challenges of our lives that we develop, ideally, that we develop greater strength, greater wisdom, greater clarity. It doesn't necessarily happen. We don't always transcend it. But that's our challenge. That's the challenge of our lives, is to recognize life's perfection Oh, I see. To pray rather than to play. I like watch and play as much as I like watch and pray, frankly. That's anyway. So when we make peace with the experiences of our lives, truly make peace, that is moving us toward our awakening. It is moving us toward our self-realization. And it's like life throws us all kinds of curveballs. We get all kinds of experiences that we may feel derailed by. Those circumstances allow us, they force us into a new direction, a new challenge. They provide us with a catalyst to grow. And we don't always grow to our betterment. That's true. So Sir says, yes, reply wisdom and old discernment. So there's a great degree of discernment that can emerge from the challenges we experience in life. Dido says, so perhaps there's what you could call a spectrum of forgiveness, and we can intend to move towards ultimate forgiveness if it's too hard to get there in one go. Absolutely, Dido, 100%. I think, you know, the first forgiveness is from an experience of being wronged, I think. And ultimately we get to that there's nothing to forgive and there's no blame, and that things unfolded in their perfection, you know, that there's no separation. So foundational to initial forgiveness, at least, is this separation of me and you, rather than us being part of this greater dynamic that has its own, the wheelworks of the universe that has its own balance. So I think the ultimate forgiveness is pure acceptance and the release of any blame. And it is an incremental process. Our growth is an incremental process. It doesn't, it's maybe only when we are self-realized that there is no need for forgiveness, because it's all perfect. And maybe that's what we aspire to, is to get to that place where we're so in flow with life that it's all unfolding perfectly. So when we hold true for, I think I've said in my life, I've said I forgive you when I didn't. When I didn't really forgive someone, you know, I was still holding that I had been wronged. And when we get to the place, so I with this person that had had such trauma at the hands of a parent, they got to the place where they recognized that this parent, through all that trauma, had shaped them with, obviously, the dynamic between this person and the parent had shaped them to be able to be their fullest expression in life, had given them the tools, had given them the foundation to be the powerhouse that they are in life. And instead of forgiveness, there was gratitude for all of that dysfunction. And that may sound really twisty, but I think that, like, this person is fulfilling their purpose, and all of these traumas gave them the strength and the courage and the spirit to be able to face the slings and arrows of their destiny, so to speak. So it's a completely illogical way to be looking at these experiences, I think. It's a way where we actually align ourselves with life and life's lessons and opportunities. And so I invite you to just sort of play with those ideas and to try on, what does it feel like to relinquish blame? It frees us. It frees us from our victimhood. So that's it for today. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live here each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. And I invite you to like and follow Enlightened World Network and me. The links for the YouTube channels are in the description. And I so appreciate the opportunity to have these morning musings together and explore what it is to be human. So until next time, so much love to you.